Draft on Tap with Bears Barroom draft analyst Danny Shimon.
That's right. Welcome to Draft on Tap with Danny Shimon. I am not Danny. He is Danny. Danny, how are you doing?
Good, Aldo. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. This is the first of a series of Draft on Taps that's going to be on video, and Danny's going to break down specific players for us. And the podcast is still going to be available to us, and perhaps with no college football season, we'll be doing fewer of those during the next few months, and then provide you with more podcasts once the postseason starts. But we will definitely be doing lots of video breakdown for you, and Danny will be the man doing it. Danny, are you ready to start with our first player?
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, and I should tell people that you have been doing some deep dives into this year's quarterback group because why, Danny?
Well, Bears have a first-round pick this year for the first time in a couple of seasons, and they might need a quarterback. So this is a class that, coming into the season has some potential, franchise signal callers in there. And so I did a real deep dive into the quarterback starting off here. And we have one that, if they're going to get them, then that means that things went pretty bad this season.
That's right. I mean, and before we get into this particular player, let me just add that, we all want Mitchell Trubisky, particularly Mitchell Trubisky, to succeed. He's a first-round draft pick. Lots of assets turned his way. And if he doesn't do a good job, then Nick Foles has to have a great season. The thing is that with any one of them having a great season, they're going to demand big bucks. And so there's a chance that the Bears might not re-sign any one of these guys if they do have great seasons. Nick Foles has an out on his contract. So he could say, well, I just had a great season. And now teams are calling me. So I might just decide to leave the Bears after one season and my 40 touchdown passes and one interception and go bank in on some other team that needs a player like me. Or Mitchell Trubisky could say, hey, I had a great season. I'm going to go into the open market. You guys didn't pick up my fifth-year option, so I'm going to go check out what else is out there. Now, it's unlikely the Bears would allow any one of these quarterbacks to go, but you never know, right?
True. I mean, and they also do have the mechanism of using the franchise tag on the position if they want to lock in the quarterback for another year. If Trubisky has that breakout season that, Ryan Pace, Matt Nagy, and certainly the Bears hierarchy are hoping he has. Like you said, they invested the second overall pick in that draft pick. Ryan Pace has a lot riding on Mitchell Trubisky and how he does, in terms of, development and performing this season. So if best case scenario plays out for the Bears, that would be Trubisky takes the next step, shows the ability to be able to lead this team offensively up and down the field and become that solid, signal caller that this franchise has been looking for years now. And then, of course, they decline his fifth-year option. What they can do is, again, you can use that franchise tag mechanism and then also, go in and then negotiate a long-term contract for him. But yes, technically, both quarterbacks can be free agents and both quarterbacks can leave, making it even more important that this position somehow has a young, player ready to take the reins if, either Foles or Trubisky is no longer on the roster.
Yeah, and don't get me started on the fact that they didn't draft a developmental quarterback this year, because I'm going to probably mention it 100 times in the next few months. So I'm going to save my rant for later. Let's start with the first quarterback that you've taken a deep dive into, and he is Trevor Lawrence. Tell me about him.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence is a kid that, the minute he stepped on the campus at Clemson was being touted as potentially that top overall pick in the 2021 draft. I mean, this kid's got tremendous size. He's at 6'6", 220 pounds. Guys that has a tall frame. He looks every bit a part of a prototypical NFL quarterback. But the thing about him, though, is he's a good athlete. Don't let that big size and frame fool you. This is a kid that's got, real good foot quickness. He's got really good straight line speed. And this is a guy that's not a statue back there in the pocket. He's got the athletic ability to be able to use his feet to be a weapon. If things are breaking down in terms of the protection, he doesn't have a receiver downfield open. This is a guy that can go ahead and tuck it under his arm and take off and get first downs for you. And here's we show you here as he breaks back, sees the middle open up wide clearly and just takes off. And you see here, he's running away from Ohio State defenders. And Ohio State has tremendous athletes on defense, and he's just running away from them. Again, the kid is 6'6", 220 pounds, but he's athletic. Don't let that size fool you. He's not a statue back there in the pocket.
This looks like a planned play, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks like it's a design play where if he sees the open, they're anticipating that open and that defensive look for that open to be, the middle of the field to be open up like that, and he saw it and he just took off with it. It's something that looks like it came in predetermined from the sidelines and from the coaches there.
What a hole! I mean, hey.
Yep.
I can't even run through that thing, but I would have gotten caught around. It's about 5 yards past the line scrimmage.
Right. So what tells me just watching this game, this play over and over again is the fact that he got the ball and just he saw the look that he was anticipating in terms of what the defense was giving him, and just said, you know what, I'm going to take it. As a 2nd and 10 play here, he goes, worst case scenario, I get a first down. But what happens here is he turns it into a bigger play and touchdown because of the fact, like we said, he's an athletic kid who's got the ability to with very good straight line speed to be able to run away from very good defensive athletes.
This guy, he's got the athletic ability that I would say is comparable to Mitchell Trubisky. Would you not say?
Yeah, he's bigger than Trubisky. He's got a bigger arm than Trubisky, but yes, he's a guy that can also, just like Trubisky, can use his feet to be able to get those first downs. I think Trubisky might be a little bit more in terms of be able to juke defenders in the field, so maybe have some more lateral agility and more lateral quickness. But definitely, this kid's got more straight line speed, I think, than Trubisky. And like you saw him right there. Again, I keep saying it. Ohio State has tremendous athletes playing on that defensive side, and he's just literally running away from these guys. So, very, very good athlete. If not on par, might be a slightly better athlete than Trubisky overall. But I think in terms of where Trubisky has a little bit of a advantage on him, he's got more of that wiggle, some of that lateral agility to be able to kind of juke defenders in the open field. I think this guy's got more straight line speed, more that, get in gear and go down the field like we just saw in that clip.
Excellent. Now let's take a look at a touchdown throw that he completed. Take us through this.
Yeah, again, drops back. He's eyeing his one target, T. Higgins, who of course went to the Bengals in the top of that 2nd round this past draft. The one thing right there is I wanted to kind of go away from his primary look, but no, he knew that he had a great matchup there with Higgins, who's a guy who about 6'3", has tremendous leaping ability. He's got a corner who cannot match up with him in terms of size. Plus, he's got the ability to be able to extend away from his frame, as you see there, and bring in that catch. So the one thing you like about Lawrence is with that size, he can see over a defensive line or the line of scrimmage easily, and he can identify mismatches right away. Now, this is a pre-snap mismatch that he identified. He sees it. He saw his guy one-on-one with a little slight safety help over the top, but that safety help came over a little bit later than anticipated, and it puts it in a spot where it's right where T. Higgins can go up and make a play on the catch. Now, the one down note here, I would like to see him put a little more touch on that throw, a little more air on that ball, and do what I call a bucket throw, kind of just lob it right into Higgins. But again, he knows Higgins, his ability to be able to go up and make these type of acrobatic catches, the body control and the hands that he possesses, and he liked the matchup with that shorter cornerback. So he went up there and just threw it and allowed his receiver to make a play there. A lot of times you see this in the NFL over and over again. There are times quarterbacks are throwing the ball to receivers that you and I might be back there and be like, oh, these guys are covered. But, it's the repetition. It's the time they've worked together. He knows where he can put the ball for his receiver and where his receiver can go up and make the catch. At this point here with example with Lawrence and Higgins, he knows Higgins' ability to be able to go up there and get that catch, and he puts it in a spot where only Higgins can make the play.
One of the things that Mark Schofield was talking about on Bear Football Show just recently. He was talking about footwork and Mitchell Trubisky's footwork and how that left foot will tend to drift to the left of his target. And what I like here about what we're seeing with Trevor Lawrence is that look at that foot. It is pointed directly at his target. And in the next clip that we're going to show you, that's exactly what he does. This guy's footwork is much more advanced than Mitchell Trubisky, despite the fact that Mitchell Trubisky has 3 years of NFL experience.
But the thing about there is we talk about that key word is there's experience. He's going into his true junior year this season upcoming. But the kid has already started 30 plus games and he's played in a national championship game. So he's got that type of experience to be able to, and the repetition to be able to get coached up and get that footwork straightened out. There are times though, you'll see him kind of short step a throw What I mean by that is he doesn't fully get into his throw, and you'll see the ball kind of bounce into his receiver. But that's all stuff that young quarterbacks, they get into these habits that can be easily coached out of them. So the thing with Trubisky, like Schofield had mentioned to you, is that he tends to open up too wide, and then that kind of gets some inaccuracies downfield on his throw. So with Lawrence, like I said, that experience, 2 years of starter, he started, every game in high school, he started every game in college so far. He's got that, those repetitions underneath him, and he's got that experience, playing in high leverage football games. That's become kind of second nature to him now.
Okay, this is a clip that Danny and I looked at the other day. We looked at it for about a half hour and just talked about it extensively. And so, Danny, why don't you take us through it, through the play, his mechanics on this play? Now, unfortunately, we don't know the down and distance on this, but it appears like it's late in the first half. The defense is playing a kind of a prevent look here with just 4 rushing linemen. Danny, take it away.
Right. So the one thing about this clip is right away you take a look at Lawrence and you see positives. A lot of the positives that NFL scouts and coaches are gonna love. You see that size, you see that pocket presence. He's looking downfield. He's got the ball in his middle of his chest. He's got it in a position where he can throw it. Now, the one thing I noticed right away is like, all right, he feels some pressure pressure to his outside. He steps up in the pocket. Now, if you go back a little bit, Aldo, real quick. So he's got his primary target going down the field there, right inside in between the hash and the numbers. So he sees that defender has got outside leverage, meaning that defender is now facing the outside of the boundaries, right? So he's anticipating, the defender is anticipating that receiver is going to cut to the outside. So that's why he's got that leverage. However, the receiver is going to go ahead and lead to the middle. Now, Lawrence knows that, so he puts a dime right there, right down the hash, a perfect throw into coverage, and gets it to his receiver. Those are what I call NFL type throws. Not every prospect has that type of arm strength to be able to step into his throw like that and put a laser on pinpoint accuracy. That's the kind of throw that scouts and coaches drool over. But if you go over now to some of the negatives of this play, there are 3 things that I look at. First of all, there is he's got the receiver coming down the field. He sees that corner's got outside leverage. What he doesn't anticipate is that corner being quick enough to be able to turn around and get himself turned to face Lawrence and the quarterback. Now, the other thing is he's got a safety playing a rover position over to the left side there, right there. And he's the guy that's got his eyes in the backfield on Lawrence, and he's seeing where that ball is being thrown. So if he had picked that up, he had anticipated that guy cutting over. If you run the play here, we're going to see the safety come over, and he could have decapitated that receiver if you wanted to. If there was no targeting rules in college football, he could have taken that receiver's head off. The other thing that safety could have done, if he had a quicker break on the ball, he could have picked that ball off possibly. So the one thing I would say negative here, obviously we love the traits, the physical ability, the arm strength, the ability to step up into the pocket and rip it and get it into a tight window. But if you read that safety coming over the top there, the safer throw is to Travis Etienne right there, the running back out of the backfield. He's got no one around him. You can get a nice 15, 20 yard, pickup with Etienne, especially. He's a guy who's got tremendous breakaway ability. If he gets that ball, you never know. He could probably break it up the field for a 20, 30 yard gain. So that would be a much safer throw, in my opinion. However, we don't know, in all fairness to Lawrence, as Aldo kind of said earlier, we don't know the down and distance. We don't know the time on the clock. This could be a 10, 15 second, play here remaining in the second half or something like that. And he just wants to get his team downfield quickly. Even if the ball is picked off, it's end of the half. It's not, no harm, no foul kind of a play. But if this is in the middle of a quarter and they have a drive going, this to me could be looked in 2 different ways. One, you love the pocket awareness, ability to step up in the pocket, and again, make that NFL type throw with that arm strength. But the other thing is you want to be able to anticipate that safety coming across, see him coming across. He's playing that rover, position, meaning that he's just kind of laying back there, no man's land, looking to see, reading the quarterback, see where the ball is going to go, and then trying to break on that ball. That could be a potential interception if that safety has a quicker read and a quicker jump on that pass. The other thing is, he could get his receiver seriously hurt, putting the ball in a position where he's got a defender bearing down on him to his side there. So, but again, you see the positives here with Trevor Lawrence, you see the negatives here with Trevor Lawrence. So, everything's got to be put in context when you're breaking down his tape. But the one thing that excites you is his size. Like I said, the prototypical size, the arm strength, the athletic ability. This kid has it all in terms of physical traits. And he makes some throws on the field that you know are NFL type throws that NFL quarterbacks are making every Sunday. So those are the things that excite you about him. Does he have some more development to do in terms of being able to quickly process the game post snap? Yes, but he's like I said, a true junior going into this season. So he's a guy that I think could continue developing in that area of his game, the mental aspect of his game. But definitely, the traits, the physical ability, the ability to win. This guy has won in all levels in terms, like I said, high school. He started as a freshman. In college, he started as a freshman. He's already won a national championship in college. So this is a kid that has the experience in terms of starting. He's got the physical traits that you want to see. There are some things that he needs to clean up in his game, but again, he's a true junior, and I think this is a guy that the ceiling is really exciting. And if you get him into your franchise and get a quarterback guru like a guy like an Andy Reid or something like that, that guy can work with him. That type of coach. What's that?
DeFilippo,
something like that. Guys that can get his, get some of those, kinks in his game, especially post snap. Reading coverages. Maybe also there are some times where I see him staring down a receiver. That's some of his primary read. I want to be able to look off a safety. Kind of lead that safety away from where he's going to go with that football. There's times where you see him not going through a read. You kind of just see him going through his primary read. I want to see that kind of stuff develop, in his game. Once that gets there, the sky's the limit for this kid. So that's why, the minute he made Clemson's team and he was starting as a freshman. This is a kid that was projected as a potential top 10 pick in the NFL draft.
And you got to love the fact that when all of this COVID-19 talk came up and they're canceling seasons, he goes onto social media and he announces, "I want to play." This is nothing against anyone that's opting out of the college or pro a season. This is not a knock, but you still love to hear a guy who is willing to go out there and play. He's got a lot to lose if he gets sick or injured. He's got millions and millions and millions of dollars to lose, but he didn't care because he loves the game, and that's something you really got to admire.
Right. That shows leadership. That shows a passion for the game. That shows that he's a guy that wants to go out there and he loves playing football and he wants to go out there and play football. And this is a kid that if he sat out this season, he's still probably guaranteed being a top 5 pick. I mean, that's how talented he is based off his first 2 seasons in terms of his tape. So he's got, like you said, Aldo, he's got everything to lose, nothing to gain really by playing this season. But he went out there. He said, "I want to play. We should play." It doesn't mean we're going to be safe going home and not playing football, or safer, I should say, going home and not playing football than we are, as opposed to being here on campus with our coaches, with certain protocols and being able to continue to play this season out. So we'll see what happens. But the ACC has not canceled their season yet. Or postponed their season yet. So we'll see. Hopefully Lawrence and the Clemson Tigers, along with everybody else in that conference, will be able to get on the field and play some football this season.
Yeah, I hear you. Now, before we close, I just want our audience to know, like I said at the top of the show, the Draft on Tap podcast is still going to be a reality. We will make adjustments as we learn more about what's happening with the college football season. But these video series where Danny is going to pick one player and do a deep dive on them, we're going to try to bring you somewhere between 3 to 5 a week, 10 to 20 minute video analysis by Danny Shimon, our chief draft analyst here at the Barroom. And we're also going to look at some Chicago Bears players, particularly the younger guys on the roster. Danny will do breakdowns on guys like Jalen Johnson, the cornerback picked in the 2nd round, and on. And we'll, of course, look at the quarterback play. Danny will break down that tape as well, because that's going to be a huge topic in this NFL season. Danny, you excited about all this new work you got?
Oh, I'm pumped. I mean, this is what I want to give the fans, our listeners, some insight in terms of what I look for when I'm breaking down these tapes. It's something to come out here and just kind of read off scouting reports, but why am I, seeing a guy? Why am I grading a guy down for his post-snap mental processing? Why do I love the kid's traits? What excites me about a player? In terms of receivers, running backs, the skill positions, the athletic ability, the body control, the contact power, the contact balance, all that stuff. We'll be able to break it down for you here on video, and you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about and referring to. So next time you see a guy play, like, all right, I remember I saw that on Draft on Tap videos, and that's what Danny and Aldo were pointing out to me.
We've got two of the best analysts in the business, and Danny Shimon and Greg Gabriel, the former college scouting director for the Chicago Bears, and we're adding more people too. Ooh, don't tell anybody that. That was a secret.
No, that was you, not me.
Danny, this was fun. I can't wait to do the next one.
Yeah, it was great. I'm right there, man. Ready to go. Excited.
All right. Take care, everyone.